The housing market is keeping everybody on their toes right now, and if you're not watching closely to the market, it's probably going to change and change back before you've really had any time to digest what's actually happening. Now, what we're talking about right now is the winter season, and I've been talking about this for the last 6 to 8 months or so. If you've been following along with our weekly newsletter, there is a window of opportunity this winter for people looking to take advantage of the housing market. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Christian Stubbs, team leader and owner of Onyx Homes, and this is our weekly newsletter, giving you as much value as we can so that you can make your better housing decisions. So let's dive in. So why is this actually happening? Well, there's a couple of different things, and I'm going to say a lot of different things that might not make sense all separately, but together I'll give you this short version of the story. So we are seeing prices come down off of their highs just a little bit. We're seeing interest rates come down off of their highs earlier in the year. We are seeing more inventory coming to the market, but homes are still selling very fast. The average days on market hasn't really changed. So what does all of this mean together? Well, it means really two things. One, homes that look good and are priced right are still selling very fast, and buyers have more to choose from and sellers have more competition. Those are the two things that we're really looking for. So when buyers have more to choose from and sellers have more competition, that means the ones that aren't priced right and don't look good are sitting on the market for a really long time and not selling at all, versus the ones that look good and are priced right are still selling very fast and oftentimes in multiple offers. So again, I ask, why is this all happening? Well, I think there's a couple very simple reasons, very simple explanations of why we're seeing this in the market right now. First and foremost, this is normal for a winter market. It is pretty standard. If you look at a chart every single year, the activity is lower in the beginning of the year, it gets really high in the middle of the year, and it falls back off towards the end of the year. Now we're seeing the same thing here. The reason it doesn't feel as normal is because we haven't seen this every year since 2020. We all know that COVID threw a huge wrench in what was normal in the housing market, but it looks like we're getting back to normal. Now the other thing that's happening is we have an election. We have looming rate drops. Prices are coming down, but not really meaningfully. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace. Between the elections and interest rates, there's a lot for people to be focusing on. So there's people waiting for prices to drop even more. There's people waiting for interest rates to drop even more. There's people waiting for the election to go in one direction or the other. And there's people waiting for something to happen, whether that's they're waiting for money to come in from a bonus or they're waiting for whatever. There's always something that people are waiting for, and there's just a lot of people that are waiting right now. Now, I can give you some color from our company here at Onyx Homes because we talk to thousands of people. You might be one of them who are always thinking about making a move. Or I shouldn't say always thinking about. We are always talking to a lot of people who are thinking about moving. Whether they do or not doesn't matter as much. My point is, we get a lot of context because we are in the market and we're a team. We're all open and collaborative with each other, so we can pull from each other's clients and figure out what is really going on in the marketplace. And here is the general consensus for what most of the people are thinking, is that they're waiting for something to happen. Now, the select few that are willing to get uncomfortable and get into the housing market this winter are taking advantage of this window of opportunity we've been talking about for so long. Now, what do I mean by this window of opportunity? I've got a couple of different real life right now examples. We just had a client that got into contract and actually just closed last week on a property that they are buying for about 15% below market value. And I'm not talking below list price. They are way below list price, but they're buying this home 15% below market value. You could guess it. This home was listed. It did not look good and it was not priced right off the bat. Seller had continuously been dropping the price. Buyer came in with a very aggressive offer, both in terms and price, because they went through our buyer strategy session, took exactly our advice on how we get our clients the best deal possible, and they got a huge discount on a great deal. Another example is a buyer that we just helped put into contract this last week. They are buying 6% below the listed price, which was already a deal for the same reason we mentioned before. Now, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that are jumping into the market and taking advantage of it, but that opportunity is there because so many people are not willing to jump into the market right now. They are waiting for something to happen. Now, my point is, for you, if you are a buyer, if you're waiting for something to happen, there's a lot of people waiting for something to happen, if that makes any sense. and they're all telling us that they're waiting for the beginning of the year. Some people are saying they're waiting for the election, which I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, but the majority of people are saying, I'm going to take buying a home seriously in the beginning of 2025. People are pretty confident rates are going to come down. People are pretty confident that the prices are not going to dramatically drop. So this is the beginning of what feels like a more normal market that we've been seeing in a very long time, which is really good for everybody. I'm just trying to make a point to you, if you're thinking about it and you're sitting on the fence, that this winter might be a very good season. I've also been saying as well, this reminds me a lot of what we saw in 2022 winter's market, where prices and interest rates were ticking down, and then right at the beginning of the year, everything shot back up and it got very competitive again, all the way up until honestly this last summer. Now, we also have clients that are getting pre-approved with a rate buy down built into their loan, and this is something that we are able to negotiate with the seller for the seller to pay for an interest rate buy down. This is something we saw very, very common. We had a lot of clients take advantage of this right when interest rates went from the 3 to 4 range up to the 6, 7, 8 range. And what an interest rate buy down basically does is, for the first 1, 2, or 3 years, depending on what option you choose, you can lower your interest rate by that many percent. So for example, you can have your interest rate be 2% lower in the first year, 1% lower in the second year, and then the 28 remaining years, it goes back to what the normal rate would have been. Now, this is something that saves clients thousands and thousands of dollars on their payments in the first couple of years. They're comfortable doing this because they're pretty confident interest rates are going to tick down between now and when that rate goes back up to their full interest rate. This saves them more money here versus taking a haircut off of the purchase price. There are a lot of different options, a lot of different ways to save money. These are all things that we cover in our buyer strategy session. So if you do want to set that up, go to onyxhomes.com/buy and you can book your buyer strategy session there. But anyway, I have a moral of the story here, is the market has changed, but it's changed for the better. The market where homes are selling in one weekend with 50 offers is not good for anybody. It's not even fun for the agents or the sellers when that happens. So we have moved to a more healthy, we're moving closer to a neutral market. My concern though is that this won't last until the new year. I think in January we're going to flip right back into a much more competitive market, more seller focused market or seller advantage market. Now, my advice is to put yourself in the best position possible. If you're thinking about making a move in 2025, now is the time to start getting prepared. One of the clients that I mentioned earlier that saved 15% off the market value on their property, they were not thinking about making a move until halfway through next year. They saw a house that they really liked. They had already taken the steps to get prepared for it, and they wrote an offer of what they felt comfortable with, which was way below market value, saving them a ton of money because they were prepared. So there's a couple of different things that I'm going to have resources down in the description for you as well. Number one, first and foremost, is keep a pulse on the market. Best way to do that is make sure you are, 1, subscribed to this channel, 2, is on our email newsletter. If you are not receiving this in your email inbox on a Friday, go to onyxhomes.com, and right there in the middle of the home screen, you can register for our weekly newsletter where we talk about the most important thing going on at any given time. And number 3 is, if you're thinking about moving at all in 2025, take advantage of our expertise and take us up on a buyer strategy session with one of our local experts. If you're already working with an agent, you know you can just contact them and ask to set it up. But if you're not already working with an Onyx agent, go to onyxhomes.com, click the buy button, drop your information on for a buyer strategy session, and we'll reach out to you right away. Now, the resources down below, I have a mortgage calculator if you are trying to figure out what your comfort zone is and you don't want to talk to a lender yet. You also have a rent versus own guide that has a ton of different information if you are currently renting. So again, my advice is to stay in the market and make sure you are prepared, comfortable, and confident if and when that house pops up, whether that's this winter, next year, the year after. The more information you have, the better. There's really no downside to having it. So whatever makes the most sense for you, you know how to reach out, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.